I'm Nate Houseman, and welcome to my show. I'm here to bring you news, knowledge, and resources to thrive in the 21st century. This is the inaugural program of my long form video format. And tonight I'm going to talk about some of the root causes of a lot of our problems today. The big two are narcissism and corporatism. We Today is December 9th, 2020, and we're in the middle of a strange political battle, and we're also in the middle of a pandemic fueled, driven recession. And it's very easy to blame it all on capitalism or blame it all on the media or a certain political party, but we want to go down to the roots. We want to talk about what's really driving all of our problems, because political parties, they come and go. Empires, they come and go. Companies, they come and go. But the dynamics of human nature are really going to last long before any of this is long. Those problems are going to last long beyond any of this is dealt with. So let's talk about narcissism. Narcissistic personality disorder is very rare. It affects only 1% of the population, but narcissistic traits are common pretty much in everyone. We all have them to some degree or another. It's a spectrum. Some people have it worse than others. So we're going to talk about narcissistic traits, pathological narcissism, and how people with this condition tend to cause havoc in our relationships, in our workplace, and in our society. Know someone who expects constant admiration, who thinks they're better than everyone else, but flies off the handle at the slightest criticism? These tips can help you recognize and cope with a narcissist. What is narcissistic personality disorder? The word narcissism gets tossed around like a lot in our selfie-obsessed, celebrity-driven culture, often describes someone who seems excessively vain or full of themselves. But in psychological terms, narcissism doesn't mean self-love, or at least not of a genuine sort. It's more accurate to say that people with narcissistic personality disorder are in love with an idealized, grandiose image of themselves. And they're in love with this inflated self-image precisely because it allows them to avoid deep feelings of insecurity. But propping up their delusions of grandeur takes a lot of work, and that's where the dysfunctional attitudes and behavior come in. Narcissistic personality disorder involves a pattern of self-centered, arrogant thinking and behavior, a lack of empathy and consideration for other people, and excessive need for admiration. And based on some of the YouTube content I've seen, it also depends on a lot of conflict, emotional distress among other people. Narcissists tend to feed off of other people's misery. Others often describe NPD as cocky, manipulative, selfish, patronizing, and demanding. This way of thinking and behaving surfaces in every area of the narcissist's life, from work and friendships to family and love relationships. People with narcissistic personality disorder are extremely resistant to changing their behavior, even when it's causing them problems. Their tendency is to turn the blame onto others. What's more, they're extremely sensitive and react badly to even the slightest criticisms, disagreements, or perceived slights, which they view as personal attacks. For the people in the narcissist's life, it's often easier just to go along with their demands to avoid coldness and rages. However, by understanding more about narcissistic personality disorder, you can spot the narcissists in your life, protect yourself from their power plays, and establish healthier boundaries. Signs and symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder. Grandiose sense of self-importance. Grandiosity is the defining characteristic of narcissism. More than just arrogance or vanity, grandiosity is an unrealistic sense of superiority. Narcissists believe they are unique or special and can only be understood by other people. What's more, they are too good for anything average or ordinary. They only want to associate and be associated with other high-status people, places, and things. Narcissists also believe they're better than everyone else and expect recognition as such, even when they've not done nothing to earn it. They will often exaggerate or outright lie about their achievements and talents. And when they do talk about work or relationships, all you hear is how much they contribute, how great they are, and how lucky the people in their lives are to have them. They are undisputed star, and everyone else is just a bit player. They live in fantasy worlds that support their delusions of grandeur. Since reality doesn't support their grandiose view of themselves, narcissists live in a fantasy world propped up by distortion, self-deception, and magical thinking. They spin off self-glorifying fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, attractiveness, and ideal love that make them feel special and in control. Control, that's a big one. Narcissists need to be in control of everything, including the people in their lives. These fantasies protect them from feelings of inner emptiness and shame, so facts and opinions that contradict them are ignored or rationalized away. Anything that threatens to burst the fantasy bubble is met with extreme defensiveness and even rage, so those around the narcissist learn to tread carefully around their denial of reality. They need constant praise and admiration. Their sense of superiority is like a balloon that gradually loses air without a steady stream of applause and recognition to keep it inflated. The occasional compliment is not enough. Narcissists need constant food for their ego, so they surround themselves with people who are willing to cater to their obsessive craving for affirmation. These relationships are very one-sided. It's all about what the admirer can do for the narcissist, never the other way around. If there's ever an interruption or diminishment of the admirer's attention and praise, the narcissist treats it as a betrayal. Sense of entitlement. Because they consider themselves special, narcissists expect favorable treatment as their due. They truly believe that whatever they want, they should get. They also expect the people around them to automatically comply with their every wish and whim. That is their only value. If you don't anticipate and meet their every need, then you're useless. And if you have the nerve to defy their will or selfishly ask for something in return, prepare yourself for aggression, outrage, or the cold shoulder. Here's one that's terrible, and that's really toxic. They exploit others without guilt or shame. Narcissists never develop the ability to identify with the feelings of others, to put themselves in other people's shoes. In other words, they lack empathy. In many ways, they view the people in their lives as objects, there to serve their needs. As a consequence, they don't think twice about taking advantage of others to achieve their own ends. Sometimes this interpersonal exploitation is malicious, but often it is simply oblivious. Narcissists simply don't think about how their behavior affects others, and if you point it out, they still will not truly get it. The only thing they understand is their own desires. They frequently demean, intimidate, bully, or belittle others. Narcissists feel threatened whenever they encounter someone who appears to have something they lack, especially those who are confident and popular. They're also threatened by people who don't kowtow to them or who challenge them in any way. Their defense mechanism is contempt. The only way to neutralize the threat and prop up their own sagging ego is to put those people down. They do so in a patronizing or dismissive way, as if to demonstrate how little the other person means to them. Or they may go on the attack with insults, name-calling, bullying, and threats to force the other person back into line. Now here's what to do if you're around a narcissist. Narcissists can be very magnetic and charming. They are very good at creating fantastical, flattering self-image to draw us in. We're attracted to their apparent confidence and lofty dreams, and even our own self-esteem, the more seductive the allure. It's easy to get caught up in their web, thinking that they will fulfill our longing to feel more important and more alive, but it's just a fantasy, and a costly one. Your needs won't be fulfilled or even recognized. It's important to remember that narcissists aren't looking for partners. They're looking for obedience. Your sole value to the narcissist is as someone who can tell them how great they are and prop up their ego. Your desires and feelings don't count. Look at the way the narcissist treats others. If the narcissist lies, manipulates, hurts, and disrespects others, he or she will eventually treat you the same way. Don't fall for the fantasy that you're different and will be spared. You need to take off the rose-colored glasses and focus on your own goals. Instead of losing yourself in the narcissist's delusions, focus on the things you want for yourself. What do you want to change in your life? What gifts would you like to develop? And what fantasies do you need to give up in order to create a more fulfilling reality. You need to set healthy boundaries. Healthy relationships are based on mutual respect and caring, but narcissists aren't capable of true reciprocity in their relationships. It isn't just that they're not willing, they truly are not able. They don't see you. They don't hear you. They don't recognize you as someone who exists outside their own needs. Because of this, narcissists regularly violate the boundaries of others. What's more, they do so with an absolute sense of entitlement. Narcissists think nothing of going through or borrowing your possessions without asking, snooping through your mail and personal correspondence, eavesdropping on conversations, barging in without an invitation, stealing your ideas, and giving you unwanted opinions and advice. They may even tell you what to think and feel. It's important to recognize these violations for what they are, so you can begin to create healthier boundaries where your needs are respected. If you have a long-standing pattern of letting others violate your boundaries, it's not easy to take back control. Set yourself up for success by carefully considering your goals and potential obstacles. What are the most important changes you hope to achieve? Is there anything you've tried in the past with the narcissist that worked? Anything that hasn't? What is the balance of power between you and how that will impact your plan? How will you enforce your new boundaries? Answering these questions will help you evaluate your options and develop a realistic plan. Consider a gentle approach. If preserving your relationship with the narcissist is important to you, you'll have to tread softly. By pointing out their hurtful or dysfunctional behavior, you are damaging their self-image of perfection. Try to deliver your message calmly, respectfully, and as gently as possible. Focus on how their behavior makes you feel, rather than on their motivations and intentions. If they respond with anger and defensiveness, try to remain calm. Because really, it's not really about you, it's about them. There's nothing you can do to truly convince them to respect your needs. It's more about realizing your own self-worth and treating yourself accordingly. Be prepared for changes in the relationship. The narcissist will feel threatened and upset by your attempts to take control of your life. They are used to calling the shots. To compensate, they may step up their demands in other aspects of the relationship, distance themselves to punish you, or attempt to manipulate or charm you into giving up the new boundaries. It's up to you to stand firm. Don't take things personally. To protect themselves from feelings of inferiority and shame, narcissists must always deny their shortcomings, cruelties, and mistakes. Often, they will do so by projecting their own faults onto others. It's very upsetting to get blamed for something that's not your fault, or be characterized with negative traits you don't possess. But as difficult as it may be, try not to take it personally. It really isn't about you. Don't buy into the narcissist's version of who you are. Narcissists don't live in reality, and that includes their views of other people. Don't let their shame and blame game undermine your self-esteem. Refuse to accept undeserved responsibility, blame, or criticism. That negativity is the narcissist's to keep. Don't argue with a narcissist. This is very tempted to do because you'll want to explain yourself, and if you've never really had boundaries before, you feel like you have to justify everything. But don't argue with a narcissist. When attacked, the natural instinct is to defend yourself and prove the narcissist wrong. But no matter how rational you are or how sound your argument, they are unlikely to hear you. And arguing the point may escalate the situation in a very unpleasant way. Don't waste your breath. Simply tell the narcissist you disagree with their assessment and move on. And honestly, a lot of narcissists, they get enjoyment out of arguing. It's like wrestling with a pig. If you ever heard that saying. You need to know yourself. The best defense against insults and projections of the narcissist is a strong sense of self. You need to tell yourself that you trust yourself. When you know your own strengths and weaknesses, it's easy to reject any unfair criticisms leveled against you, and let go of the need for approval. It's important to detach the narcissist's opinion and any desire to please and appease them at the expense of yourself. You need to be okay with knowing the truth about yourself, even if the narcissist sees the situation differently. Look for support and purpose elsewhere. Learn what healthy relationships look like. If you come from a narcissistic family, you may not have a very good sense of what a healthy give-and-take relationship is. The narcissistic pattern of dysfunction may feel comfortable to you. Just remind yourself that as familiar as it feels, it also makes you feel bad. In a reciprocal relationship, you need to feel respected, listened to, and free to be yourself. Is that new information to a lot of you? I mean, you might be in a really toxic family situation, or you might be in a really toxic work environment. But you need to understand that you deserve to be respected. You deserve to have your feelings validated. And if you're in a customer service job, you know how important it is to validate the emotions and expectations of your customers. You deserve the same treatment because you are a human being. Remember that. Spend time with people who give you an honest reflection of who you are. In order to maintain perspective and avoid buying into the narcissist's distortions, it's important to spend time with people who know you as you really are and validate your thoughts and feelings. Make new friendships, if necessary, outside the narcissist's orbit. Some narcissists isolate the people in their lives in order to better control them. If this is your situation, you'll need to invest time into rebuilding lapsed friendships or cultivating new friendships. Look for meaning and purpose in work, volunteering, and hobbies. Instead of looking to the narcissist to make you feel good about yourself, pursue meaningful activities that make use of your talents and allow you to contribute. And we're going to talk about a couple ways to do that after we discuss narcissism and corporations. How to leave a narcissist. Ending an abusive relationship is never easy. Ending with a narcissist can be especially difficult, as they can be so charming and charismatic, at least at the start of the relationship, or if you threaten to leave. It's easy to become disoriented by the narcissist's manipulative behavior, caught up in the need to seek their approval, or even feel gaslighted about your own and doubt your own judgment and doubt your own memory. If you're codependent, your desire to be loyal may trump even your need to preserve your safety and sense of self. But it's important to remember that no one deserves to be bullied, threatened, or verbally and emotionally abused in a relationship. There are ways to escape the narcissist, and the guilt and self-blame, and begin the process of healing. Educate yourself about narcissistic personality disorder. The more you understand, the better you'll be able to recognize the techniques a narcissist may use to keep you in a relationship or in the toxic work environment. When you threaten to leave, a narcissist will often resurrect the flattery and adoration, which we call love bombing, that caused you to be interested in them in the first place. Or they'll make grand promises about changing their behavior that they have no intention to keep. Write down the reasons you're leaving, make a list, seek support. During your time together, the narcissist may have damaged your relationships with friends and family or limited your social life. But whatever your circumstances, you're not alone. Even if you can't reach out to old friends, you can find help from support groups or domestic violence helplines and shelters. Don't make empty threats. It's better tactic to accept the narcissist won't judge, won't change, and when you're ready, just simply leave. Making threats or pronouncements will only forewarn the narcissist and enable them to make it more difficult for you to get away. You need to cut off all contact, allow yourself to grieve, and don't expect the narcissist to share your grief. So, of these signs of narcissism, what do you recognize any of them in perhaps the people in your life? Maybe your coworkers, your supervisors, your family members. Do you recognize them in any of the politicians that make the news? Do you recognize them in any public figures? I watch a lot of YouTube and a lot of independent content creators who deal with things like pop culture, comics, music, and the economy. They tend to notice a lot of overbearing, very entitled and toxic behavior from like corporate, like entertainment brands, like from Hollywood, from the big comics publishers like DC and Marvel, from video game publishers. They're treating the fans as just the regular folks, as students or as subjects to be talked down to be preached at. They're not really considering what the fans of these classic entertainment forms really want and get out of their entertainment, like from superhero stories to video games to classic sci-fi movies like Star Wars or Star Trek or Doctor Who. There seems to be a pattern of just obnoxious behavior, and if you follow any like YouTube channels like Clownfish TV, Nerdrotic, Overlord DVD, they've done a good job of chronicling all this strange and toxic behavior, and very few people really are putting up with it. Hollywood is in a bad way during this whole pandemic. Not only are the theaters closed, but people are turning off the award shows. They're turning off the celebrity interviews. They're not watching sports much at all because it's gotten so political. There really is a disconnect between the elites in their corporate owned entertainment factories and just ordinary citizen journalists and content creators, and just really the consumer. It's kind of a new paradigm. And if any of the signs of narcissism that I just went over sound relevant and can be reflected in what you see and can't stand from people on TV, just you probably know why now. So I've mentioned corporate entertainment and corporate workplaces. Let's actually take a look at what a corporation is and what corporatism is, because too many people are confusing corporatism with capitalism. Capitalism is the engine of prosperity in the free world. I will never stop defending capitalism, but corporations are not the same. Corporations are no better friend of capitalism than the socialists are. So let's talk about corporatism. Corporatism is a political ideology that advocates the organization of society by corporate groups, such as agriculture, labor, military, scientific, or guild associations, on the basis of their common interests. The term is derived from the Latin corpus, or human body, the hypothesis that society will reach a peak of harmonious functioning when each of its divisions efficiently performs its designated function, such as the body's organs, individually contributing its general health and functionality, lies at the center of corporatist theory. Corporatist ideas have been expressed since ancient Greek and Roman societies, with integration into Catholic social teaching and Christian democratic political parties. They have been paired by various advocates and implemented in various societies with a wide variety of political systems, including authoritarianism, absolutism, fascism, liberalism, and socialism. Really, corporatism is not bad in and of itself, but what it is, it's basically subjugating the rights of the individual into the authority of a group. A corporation isn't just simply a for-profit company. A corporation can be any organization. It could be a government. It could be a religious organization. It could be a union, if you can believe that, because union members are basically members of the organization. A corporation can be a political party. It can be any organization that has a hierarchy and is treated as, it's basically any large group of people that can be treated as a single entity. Basically, subordinating individuals into the group. Don't confuse capitalism with corporatism. Populist movements are rising up, decrying the danger and destruction of capitalism. This false populist sentiment is perpetuated by four groups politicians manipulating the us versus them mentality, the ultra-rich who wish to see others not succeed, university professors who have either never worked in the real world or have spent so much time in academia they forgot what the real world is like, and blindly idealistic students that also embrace microaggressions and trigger warnings. It's an easy argument to make. The rich are made rich by a rotten capitalist system that oppresses those noble, hardworking innocents who do the actual labor. They want the system to be more fair. In other words, slanted their way, and even to cap earnings and opportunities. They want it's a capitalist system that controls their lives, is in bed with government, and can buy all the influence it wants, randomly destroys communities, and cold-bloodedly lays off thousands of workers simply to save money or increase stock prices. Capitalism, however, is not the culprit. It is corporatism, the collective mentality of the corporation that views workers as interchangeable and customers as lacking options. We do not live in a free market. We live in a market controlled by the interrelation between monolithic corporations, Wall Street, and the government. These three entities are what control our economic and professional opportunities, not capitalism. Capitalism, specifically small business entrepreneurial capitalism, is the antidote to this. Small business entrepreneurial capitalism is a structure that allows anyone to achieve their goals, inside the system or outside of it. It's a system that is not rigged to the highest bidder. If the United States operated in a pure free market system, then the bailouts to Wall Street, the auto unions, and the auto industry would not have happened. Those who engaged in reckless business practices would have been eaten up by the market, and the void created by those organizations would have been filled with new entrants. It is corporatism that created the pathway for GE, Goldman Sachs, Hollywood, and GM, among others, to have incredible access to the government, not to mention access to bailout money. It is corporatism that has allowed tech companies such as Google, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft to partner with the NSA, providing data on millions of their users to the shadowy government agency. They are able to act with impudence because there is no real structure for new organizations to challenge them. Government works to protect its friends and prevent new entrants from becoming major players in any industry. The system in play now is designed to provide the illusion of opportunity, when in reality, the opportunity is there only for a selected few. Corporatism is the economic partner of communism and totalitarianism, seeking to decrease opportunity and forge allegiance and servitude. It is corporatism that creates the rules of industry and barriers to entry, and is in corporations that purchase votes in their favor to prevent startups from challenging them. It is corporations that control the media, determining what we see and hear and how our opinions are formed. No one in power is willing to give it up. It's far easier to buy the protection needed from the government or simply buy those businesses that would challenge it. Looking at you, Microsoft. The pure small business entrepreneurial capitalist system is the antidote to this rigged structure. Opening up the fields to innovation and market access would create greater wealth and opportunities for millions across the country and the world. This system would also create great access to greater education and freedom. A true capitalist system would put the burden of responsibility and accountability on the individual and force people to work harder, take chances on their own success or failure. With the control structure that is in place now, there's an incredible de-emphasis on personal responsibility or initiative. It is small business and entrepreneurial capitalism that will solve the problems of poverty and corruption around the world. For decades, we have seen government and corporate actions yield no progress, yet fools think the answer is more of this, not less. This is why corporations and government oppose a true capitalist system. It challenges their power. Oligarchs are not needed. That is what they fear. That is what they fear the most. That is from International Policy Digest. I love every bit of that, every word of that article. Dated September 15th, 2017. Who has come out on top during this pandemic? It's companies like Amazon, Walmart, and Target. I shop at Target probably way too much. But so many small businesses have been hogtied. They've been bound up by their state governments, and they're not even allowed to compete. Now, I don't think the virus is a hoax at all, but our response to the virus has been it's just been it's been used as a smokescreen for something far more nefarious. If you ask me, I'm a I have a business as a web designer and digital business consultant, and I would love for more small businesses to embrace the internet. It really does have the ability to let them survive in these strange times. They can they can sell they can sell their products to customers anywhere in their area or even around the country. It'll help them communicate or serve customers long distance, and it's just sad that not enough businesses really embrace the internet and what it can do. I mean, it's changed so much already. How we deal with the government, how we deal with the news, how we build relationships, how we go out dating, if you even want to call it that. It's just as an entrepreneur, I see so much potential. I see so much opportunity available for people who don't even realize it's there, and that's one of the reasons I want to make this podcast and this video program. So, but as it stands right at the moment, though, the corporations are really throwing their weight around. Now, here's why narcissists become leaders, according to two psychologists. Narcissists have a way of climbing up the ladder. They're very good at getting promoted and taking over corporations and driving them into the ground. Psychologists W. Keith Campbell and Carolyn Christ explain why narcissists rise to power and how to make sure your support is going to someone making effective, positive change. Dated October 8th of this year. Pathological narcissism is rare. It impacts an estimated 1% of the population. Narcissism is tied closely to leadership emergence, as narcissists tend to initially be confident, charismatic, and charming. Leadership is a natural goal for narcissists because it feeds their motivational goals of status, power, and attention. Keith Campbell and Carolyn Christ explain why narcissists rise to power. The term narcissist is commonly used to refer to people who appear to be arrogant or entitled. It's easy to refer to someone who talks a lot about themselves or their accomplishments as a narcissist. But what does the word really mean? Narcissism is viewed on a spectrum. The trait itself is normally characterized by people scoring near the middle of the spectrum and a few rare individuals at either end. How do you score narcissism? The Narcissistic Personality Inventory was developed by Robert Raskin and Calvin S. Hall in 1979. Scores on this scale range from 0 to 40, with the average tending to fall in the low to mid-teens, according to Psychology Today. The difference between pathological narcissism and narcissism is important. Pathological narcissism, which is actually a personality disorder referred to as narcissistic personality disorder, is rare. It impacts an estimated 1% of the population. It's a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, and troubled relationships. This disorder is suspected when a person's narcissistic traits, listed above, begin to impair their daily functions. So, pathological narcissism is very rare. However, we all have a few narcissistic traits or another. It does fall on a scale, and some people do have it worse than others. Why do narcissists become leaders? Leadership is a natural goal of narcissists because it feeds their motivational goals of status, power, and attention. Leadership can be a complex topic to discuss, as the psychology of leadership can be classified in two distinct ways: leadership emergence, which is the rise to power, and leadership effectiveness, what happens once the person has power. Narcissists initially appear charming and confident, making them great for leadership emergence. Narcissism is tied closely to leadership emergence, as narcissists tend to be initially confident, charismatic, and charming, then later perceived as vain or arrogant. However, narcissism may not be great for effective leadership. Once someone rises to power and gains trust, it doesn't always mean they're going to be effective at being a leader to those people. Many positions are self-elected, and narcissists will jump at this chance. Education, politics, and businesses are typically set up to allow potential leaders to self-elect and move forward with their own goals. Even when leaders are selected by committees and groups, they may be more inclined to go with a high visibility, confident, high-profile candidate over someone who exudes leadership qualities in a more muted way. Many systems favor loud, narcissistic individuals over quiet, effective leaders. Sometimes it feels like our systems are set up to select these narcissistic individuals, explains Campbell and Christ. The democratic election process can also feel like a popularity contest, where the biggest ego wins. Even this year, candidates have created polarizing followings on social media. People desire a leader who promises stability and direction during challenging times. Narcissists who come to power during chaotic and difficult times often quickly gain support of their followers because they make promises of stability and have a clear direction in mind. The problem with this is it can lead to detrimental leaders, such as Hitler. Hitler rose to power during a time when Germany's economy was struggling to recover after the First World War, promising to rebuild and strengthen the country. It's a classic story of the narcissist love bombing their victims and just presenting everything that the victim wants and getting them wrapped up into like this dreamlike fantasy world. They do it with their customers. They do it with the hiring managers. They just kind of know how to get the people who matter to them, get the people who they want to use, just to feel good and trust them. And once they have what they want, the switch flips and they become horrible. How do we avoid electing and supporting narcissistic, ineffective leaders in the future? Campbell and Chris have a few ideas in their book. Oh, they're gonna like pitch their book. The main takeaway being this: our best bet is to watch how they act and treat others, and then respond accordingly when they look for the next position of power. So you just have to learn how to spot a narcissist and cut them off the past. So you're probably thinking Trump, and it's very easy to think that. I think Trump is a response to narcissism in pretty much all of our politics. Politicians just have a way of saying what needs to be said, giving out the red meat, finding out what scratches the itch of people, and just saying that. But do they really deliver? Of course not. I call it the Hans Gruber theory, and I'll probably talk about that in a future program. Hans Gruber, the villain of the classic Christmas film Die Hard. He and his men, they hijacked the Nakatomi office building, and they claimed to be terrorists working for some political goal. But really, they were just there. They just spewed that propaganda to keep the hostage negotiators busy. What they were really there to do was break into the Nakatomi building's vault and steal a fortune in banknotes. And that's really the case. That's really the way it is for all politicians, tyrannical dictatorships, and terrorists. Like they preach ideology basically to disguise the fact that they're just there to rob you. They're just there to use you. And I really do feel like it's something that we should flesh out in a future episode. So, what is the strategy for dealing with this. For dealing with corporations and the narcissists who take them over. It starts with, really, we have to start internally. And we have to do that by improving our own mindset, improving our own sense of self, our confidence, our ability to communicate and build relationships with other people who truly do value us. And a big change in my life, I was bullied really bad as a kid, and I was insecure for most of my teens and 20s. But what really got me out of that was just learning to get some exercise and find some support groups that truly respected me as an individual. I found some friends. I found a good church family to join, and I got serious about my martial arts training. But let's talk about how exercise gives us great mental health benefits, and we'll talk about martial arts training a little bit after that as a specific type of exercise that can really help us deal with the negativity in the world. How your mental health reaps the benefits of exercise from Psychology Today. You almost certainly already know that an inactive lifestyle contributes to chronic misery such as obesity, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, osteoporosis, and early death. You may also be one of the third of us who have recently resolved to exercise more. But how often do you consider the contribution of physical exercise to your mental health? Rates of depression and anxiety are at their highest recorded levels in countries as diverse as India, China, the US, and the UK. Undoubtedly, many aspects of modern life, which is increasing social isolation, poor diets, a focus on money and image, contribute to the state. However, inactivity is another key factor. Most of us find that a sunny walk or a trip to the gym improves our mood in the short term. Exercise is well known to stimulate the body and produce endorphins and enkephalins, the body's natural feel-good hormones, which can make problems seem more manageable. The simple act of focusing on exercise can give us a break from our current concerns and damaging self-talk. Further, depending on the activity, people may benefit from calming exercises, be energized, and get outside and interact with others, all of which are known to improve mood and general health. However, the idea that physical exercise might do something really fundamental for mental health is less immediately obvious, especially given the Western distinction between mind and body that implies mental and physical health can be separated. In fact, increasingly robust evidence suggests that exercise is not only necessary for the maintenance of good mental health, it can be used to treat even chronic mental illness. For example, it is now clear that exercise reduces the likelihood of depression and also maintains mental health as we age. On the treatment side, exercise appears to be as good as existing pharmacological interventions across a range of conditions, such as mild to moderate depression, dementia, and anxiety, and even reduces cognitive issues with schizophrenia. But how? Put simply, exercise directly affects the brain. Regular exercise increases the volume of certain brain regions, in part through better blood supply that improves neuronal health, by improving the delivery of oxygen and nutrients, and through an increase of neurotropic factors and neurohormones that support neuron signaling, growth, and connections. The importance of critical importance for mental health is the hippocampus, an area of the brain involved in memory, emotion regulation, and learning. Studies in other animals show convincingly that exercise leads to the creation of new hippocampal neurons, with preliminary evidence suggesting that it's also true in humans. Evidence is accumulating that many mental health conditions are associated with reduced neurogenesis in the hippocampus. The evidence is particularly strong for depression. Interestingly, many antidepressants that were once thought to work through their effects on the serotonin system are now known to increase neurogenesis in the hippocampus. I'm sorry, I'm stumbling over all these big words. I need to take my time here. What does all this mean? Theory suggests that newborn hippocampal neurons are likely to be particularly important for storing new memories and keeping old and new memories separate and distinct. Thus, neurogenesis allows a healthy level of flexibility in the use of existing memories and the flexible processing of new information. Much mental ill health is characterized by a cognitive inflexibility that keeps us repeating unhelpful behaviors, restricts our ability to process or even acknowledge new information, and reduces our ability to use what we already know to see new solutions or to change. It is therefore plausible that exercise leads to better mental health in general, through its effects on the system that increase the capacity for mental flexibility. So how much exercise? Psychiatrist Mudhakar Trivedi has shown that 3 or more sessions per week of aerobic exercise or resistance training for 45 to 60 minutes per session can help treat even chronic depression. Effects tend to be noticed about after 4 weeks, which incidentally is how long neurogenesis takes. And training should be continued for 10 to 12 weeks for the greatest antidepressant effects. With today's trend for 10 seconds to a new you type solutions, this may seem like a lot of exercise, but no worthwhile mental fix comes for free. Exercise below these recommended amounts are still beneficial, and of course the side effects, such as weight loss, increased energy, better skin, and improved physical health, are pretty palatable. The brain actually has a neat trick to get us back on track too. As outlined by blogger Christopher Berglund, even small improvements in exercise levels or diet create a positive upward spiral or feedback loop that increases the sensitivity of the dopamine receptors to signal that reward. So the exercise will eventually become rewarding, even if it becomes unmanageable at the outset. So, in other words, start small and then build yourself up as the weeks and months go on. So, during the last probably 6 years, I was my physical exercise got off track because I was so focused on building my business. But I feel like I'm really coming back on track once I started exercising again this year. I actually earned my black belt in Taekwondo about 6 years ago, but that was around the time I got laid off from my longest lasting corporate job. So I have found some really good YouTube channels that teach the Taekwondo forms and routines, and I've gone back into that, and I've even dabbled in some karate. But let's talk about 15 surprising benefits of beginning martial arts as an adult. And then we'll kind of circle back on how this can help you deal with the narcissist bullies in your life. Losing weight, improved fitness, physical self-defense skills. There are lots of reasons why people take up martial arts as adults. Certainly, the martial arts have a lot to offer in these areas, but many people are surprised by other benefits where they begin training. Here are a few. Stress relief. Any regular exercise is scientifically shown to relieve stress, but being able to get that exercise surrounded by a supportive community can go a long way to put you at ease. Moreover, many martial artists value their class time as a break from the stresses in their lives. Penny Phillips Dutton says, "I forget about kids, house, bills, etc. while I'm on the floor." She must be doing jiu-jitsu. Yeah, a martial arts class is a great support group for dealing with the toxicity in your life. So there's that. Energy, number 2. In a similar vein, having a good workout on a regular schedule can do a lot to improve your energy levels. Part of this comes from an increased blood flow to your body and a healthier cardio system, meaning your blood moves oxygen to your body more efficiently, resulting in higher energy levels. In addition, regular exercise helps you sleep at night, so you become even more refreshed during the day. Even though the science behind this is well known, many beginning martial artists are surprised when it happens to them. Number 3, peacefulness and mental balance. You know the stereotype of an ancient martial arts master who never gets riled up, but calmly deflects the protagonist's antics? Well, you don't need to be mastered to get this benefit from martial arts training. Martial artists of all levels report calmness and inner fortitude against stressful situations. Mary Collins describes this as a sense of peace and harmony, adding that because of her training, she is less likely to allow things to become stressful. Dutton echoes her sentiment, saying that because of her training, I'm also less likely to lose my temper. When you have physical strength and the ability to defend yourself, you get a lot more confident and things don't rattle you as much. Number 4, overcoming healthy habits. Discipline and self-control are lauded as great reasons for children to participate in martial arts, but adults often experience similar benefits. It's not unusual for a martial artist to credit his or her training with being able to finally quit smoking, recover from substance abuse, or eat healthier. Dakota, who has asked to withhold his last name, describes how he finally achieved sobriety by saying, "Karate gave me a focus point and a healthy alternative to drinking alcohol. I haven't consumed alcohol in over 2.5 years." Confidence. And we're talking about real confidence, not the fake kind that narcissists are just so full of themselves with. Confidence is a very common benefit in martial arts training, and it takes many forms. Some people overcome shyness, and others just learn to carry themselves with more presence or authority. Nathan Kirk, who began training in Taekwondo as a young adult, explains that even though he has never been shy, he still had to learn to perform without being self-conscious. He says, "I could always be the class clown, or be in front of others, but if I wanted to present my honest best, there was concern people might see the faults. What I developed through martial arts was a balance of humility and confidence. I accepted my imperfect performance without feeling the need to joke or apologize or highlight it in a self-deprecating way." You get a healthier relationship with your body. Many people experience a connection between their minds and bodies when they begin martial arts training. It usually begins with an awareness of the body that comes from learning new things. You have to pay attention to your body in order to learn a new physical skill. As training continues, people tend to notice that when the body is well taken care of, there is a corresponding boost in mental areas such as creativity, patience, and energy. But it can be much deeper than just an awareness of the symbiosis between mind and body. Karate stylist Alexandria Christensen recalls a dramatic change after training for only a few months. She says, "It was the first time I ever connected with my body in a way that isn't about vanity. I no longer want to eat healthy and work out to be skinny and beautiful, but rather to be strong, to perform karate well. It changed my whole way of thinking." Improved mental health. For people struggling with mental health problems such as depression or anxiety, professionals will often recommend regular exercise to help with their symptoms. Especially for those battling depression, having a supportive community at the training hall can also go a long way. Internationally famous karate expert Ian Abernathy credits his training with recovering from depression. Rochelle Lawrence says, "Karate has done more for my anxiety than anything else." Jeff Gorney, who's been training for a year and a half, says, There are huge mental health benefits. No matter how I felt emotionally before training, I always felt better afterwards." Better balance. Making deliberate choices. In the words of Uncle Ben and others, with great power comes great responsibility. But what Spider-Man learned the hard way, martial artists can get from regular training. If you learn to turn your body into a weapon, you also have to learn the self-control to not use that weapon lightly. But that self-control can help in all areas of your life. Debbie Schofield, who started training at age 44, explains, "I become more conscious of my decisions. When I have downtime, it's not a habit, but a decision now. If I eat ice cream, for example, I don't do it mindlessly, but by choice. I'm more aware on every level." Improved reflexes and coordination. Most beginning martial artists expect to drop some weight, improve cardiovascular health, and build strength. But many are surprised the first time they catch the soap they drop in the shower. Well, that's a somewhat silly example. Having that coordination and the faster reflexes can help in many areas of life, from playing sports to driving more safely. Motivation. It's not unusual to see someone take up martial arts and then suddenly make significant progress in a goal they've had for years, such as quitting smoking or eating healthier. It can happen for a lot of reasons, but one common reason is because their training provides some extra motivation. Susan Briggs has had this kind of experience early in her training when she realized how much her smoking was affecting her progress. She recalls, "When I got to purple belt, I want to continue to, and found the motivation to successfully give up smoking. She's been smoke-free for 4 years now, as of this blog published. Number 12, career gains. Sometimes the added confidence, self-discipline, stress relief, and increased energy can have the huge benefits at home or in the workplace. Karate instructor Barbara Lamble has experienced this both for herself and with her students. She says, I've noticed that my professional career has had a similar trajectory as my karate career. For example, each black belt ranking has corresponded with a significant promotion at work. The two disciplines are not connected, but I think that the sense of focus and purpose while training has helped me progress in the workplace. I've seen it among my students as well. Friendship. This is huge. This is going to help you confront your narcissist. It's going to help you recover from the abuse, and it's going to help you build real relationships in the workplace. It's hard to explain the bond that forms between martial artists. You can throw punches at each other one moment and laugh about the next. You've experienced something that few outside the martial arts will ever understand. Martial arts friendships are really something special. Some even go so far as to call it a second family. Jamie Warren values the breadth of friends he's met through training, saying, I met friends through martial arts who I've never met otherwise. Family closeness. Martial arts is one of the few physical activities that transcends age groups and can be practiced with the whole family. After all, parents usually aren't allowed to join Little League teams with their kids. Since many styles can be practiced well into old age, you can have 3 generations in one family all taking lessons together. Michael Rowe was 49 years old when he began training. He recalls, my 2 daughters and myself started at the same age, and one daughter still trains with me. I feel it's kept us close. I now have more confidence, less fear, more fitness, more flexibility, and a closer relationship with my daughter. And lastly, it's fun. It's a great experience. It's great to experience a huge onslaught of physical, mental, and social benefits. But at the end of the day, training should be fun. Bill Leake was pleasantly surprised when he started training. He says now, it's more fun than I expected. Others come in already expecting a great experience and are not disappointed. John Hauser Weaver sums it up nicely. It's just so much fun to do. One benefit I learned from martial arts is how to think on your feet. When you're sparring with someone, it's you learn. In the early days of my training, I was stressing out, okay, what move am I going to use on this person? How do I do this correctly? But as time goes on, you kind of learn to just let it flow. Just kind of let it learn. You don't force it. You let it come to you. In Japanese, there's a word called mushin, which means no mind, which means don't really think about what you're going to do. You just do it. It's a state of mind that's hard to explain, but you just kind of act naturally. You just act automatically. Bruce Lee even said, I do not hit. It hits all by itself. And that's kind of a state of mind where there's very little stress, actually. You're just kind of in the moment. Sometimes I think that's the same way how hip-hop artists are able to come up with the rhymes on the fly as they do, or how jazz musicians are able to come up with the notes and the music they're playing on the spot. But when you learn how to think on your feet, and you learn how to adapt to a situation, there's not much that scares you after that. You can be in a very stressful work situation where a customer is reading you the riot act, or a manager is breathing down your neck. Once you learn how to think on your feet and be confident, you'll know what to do, what's right. I really think that's a good thing to talk about in the future. I even think that's kind of a way where it's kind of a state of mind where God talks to you. More on that in the future. So, where are we at? We've covered a lot in this program, and let's let's look at some resources to help us get our minds right while we're stuck at home. There is so much free content on YouTube. It's embarrassing. Most of us cannot go to a in-person martial arts class, but there are plenty of martial arts channels. Let's go to, I found this one. If I can find him, or I'll just type him in. He's a karate instructor in Canada, and since this Jason Pinnell, since this pandemic started, he's hosted these karate workout sessions every Saturday. So they're like about 45 minutes long, and he goes through teach you some basic techniques, just to go through and practice at home, and he guides you through it. Another instructor I found, Karate Dojo Waku. This young man from Japan, I haven't joined his class, but he actually offers a online karate class. I've been following his channel, and he has some good content where he reviews other martial arts styles and gives some pointers on the Shotokan style of karate. But the reason I want to bring him up is his online group lessons. His name is Yusuke Nagano, and he's from Japan, but he speaks very good English. So, for $33 a month, you can join his class online. If you're more interested in Taekwondo, which is my chosen martial art, there's this channel, Master Wu. He's been making videos for many years, and he teaches you the forms, teaches you the techniques. He'll even teach you a little bit of the Korean language. There's that. Now, I also want to share some resources for dealing with the narcissist in your life. There's Surviving Narcissism. This channel, which I have subscribed to, which is just opened my eyes up to a lot of problems in society. This is a good channel to follow. Also, Dr. Ramani, she's great. She teaches you how to deal with narcissists and how to find the warning signs. Either Surviving Narcissism or Dr. Ramani, both of them are great. You can't go wrong with either one of them. So I want to leave you with these resources. These are all some channels that I subscribe to on YouTube, and this program will be up on YouTube. It'll also be up on Odyssey, my Facebook page. You can follow me on Parler and Instagram. So if you want to support if what I've offered you tonight you think is valuable, there are two things you can do. You can go to my website, natehessman.net, and you can click on the shop page. You can buy stuff. That'll help support me financially. And you can also share this program. You can share it with friends and family. You can share it on social media. You can email it to your friends. This will be up on YouTube and Odyssey, and it's also available on all major podcast platforms. I want to I want us all to think positive. I want us all to take a look at our current situation. We just celebrated Thanksgiving in the United States, and Thanksgiving is a time to think positive, to count our blessings, to make a list of what's going right in our lives. And when we do that, we're able to better deal with the struggles. Right now, it's the run up to the Christmas season. It's a very common time to be depressed, but I just want everyone to know they're not alone. Thanks to the internet, you have friends. You have a world full of friends. A lot of them you haven't even met yet. Get on social media. Get on Facebook. Get on alternative websites like Parler and Minds and MeWe, and find some of the people that you thought, oh, they're saying things I agree with. I thought I was the only one. Don't just look to like the big corporate tech giants. There's way more out there than you probably even thought of before. So with that, I will let you go. I want us all to find some grace, some control, and work on grace against the machine. I'll see you tomorrow.